But going forward, we're optimistic.
Right. And what are some of our members doing that are being creative? How are they? You talk about these families that have been here 80 years. Are they marketing differently? Are they? I know customer service is always important, but what are some of the tools that make a successful business?
The very progressive retailers have figured out multiple formats. So they'll have the brick and mortar format. They'll have the downtown location, but then they're able to expand their marketplace reach through the internet. All of a sudden, their customer base is not that 5-mile radius.
Sure.
It is the world. And we have some great examples of retailers that are just doing very well over the internet. The internet will have a place. It's growing because as people, time is a difficult commodity to manage, so they'll gravitate towards the internet. But there's still the overwhelming majority of people that like the shopping experience. They like to go in, touch and feel the goods. They like the social experience. The internet can never replace that. Good retailers have figured out a way to be in both formats.
Now you talk about sort of some of the other trends. The services you provide help most retailers in many different ways save some money. Now I know that we've had the opportunity of using like your credit card services, workman's comp. Can you tell sort of how those work within your organization?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for asking. The merchant processing is the ability for a retailer to accept credit cards within their store. And that retailer, as you know, has to pay a discount fee every time a customer comes in and presents their Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover card. We've figured out a way to aggregate the small independent retailers and basically put together a large buying program so that they can enjoy processing rates as favorable as the major retailers.
Wow.
On workers' compensation, a fun thing because we are, in many instances, the association is a startup business because we formed a mutual insurance company that focused on workers' compensation for members of the retail community. As you know, every business has to have workers' compensation insurance to protect employees if they're injured in the workplace. We always felt that there was subsidization between different lines of business, and that retail as a whole has a very positive experience, and if we could collect that, we could pass those savings back to the retail community. We've been very successful with that.
Wonderful. And so those are just some of the tools that an association like that. Then you also do governmental affairs, and we talked a little bit about our downtown package and your support there. What are some of the other sort of legislative issues you're working on?
Well, item pricing, of course, is always the number one issue, and just like to talk about that for 30 seconds. Our philosophy is that Michigan as a whole should be in the mainstream of economic issues. And when you have one state that has a regressive item pricing law that requires clerks to put a price tag on every item, when Florida doesn't, when California doesn't, it makes you sit back and say, are we using technology to the best degree?
Right.
We don't think that we are. That should be changed. There are a number of other issues on the horizon: gift cards, how they should be regulated, the expiration dates. I think we've come together and worked out a good solution for the consumers.
Well, it was interesting as the chairman of the Commerce Committee working with Eric and your association on the gift card issue, and that really turned out to be a very good bipartisan package, and we're trying to put the final agreements on it. I didn't realize how far-reaching gift cards have gotten.
Oh, they are probably the fastest growing segment of retail right now. It is simply stunning how, you think back 10 years ago, the gift cards really didn't exist. It was the old paper certificate, but they are the universal gift. And if there's one segment of retail that's really growing, it is gift cards, because you have people like me that can't decide what to buy for a family member, so you fall back on that trusty gift card, and it seems to work.
Well, I was amazed that besides sort of our sort of Main Street retailers, Northwest Airlines, then there's some people that are doing educational gift cards so that, help with books or whatever from universities. It's such a diverse area. And to come up with a way to regulate that is important, to have a voice from retail, a voice from Main Street business during those discussions.
Yeah, and your committee did a great job crafting a solution. It's it's a tricky issue because you'll have retailers that have stores across state lines.
Right.
So should there be state regulations, should there be federal regulations, so you have uniformity? And I think what your committee did was carve a very nice balance.
Very good. And then in the item pricing issues, that just continues to be a challenge to try and communicate how technology is advanced.
Well, it is a law that was bred back in the 70s when scanners were first coming out, and people were worried about the accuracy of the scanners. But it is an education process, and people are used to picking up the item and looking at that price tag and being able to match it quickly. But I'm always challenged by that when people will travel out of state, vacation in Florida, and they don't have that same benefit, and it doesn't seem to bother the consumer. So clearly it is an education issue that we need to work on.
Right. Now, from your magazine, which is, I think, Michigan Retailers.
Correct.
You put on educational seminars and sponsor different types of trade shows in the jewelry area.
We do.
Can you tell me a little bit about the educational seminars you put on?
Sure. Most of our members are small one-store operators, and it's very difficult for them to get that continuing education they need to be on the trending edge, if you will. So we try to, again, be their eyes and ears, try to find good speakers on what are the new trends in merchandising, inventory management, to provide them that spark that they need to move them forward. So we have a number of seminars throughout the state. They're low cost. The idea is just to give people an opportunity to continue their education.
Very good. And then the gift shows you put on for many small businesses, is that what, in the jewelry area, or do you have the gift areas, or what are those?
We quite honestly, we used to hold a very large jewelry gift buying store, but
that's changed? Yeah,
that business has really changed, and most of the shows are national now.
Oh, really?
The Las Vegas market has really co-opted that. So we've kind of given that space up to other people.
And it's just it's amazing, you know, from our industry perspective in the men's clothing. You know, there used to be the regional trade shows, and several in Michigan, and much like what you're talking about in the jewelry area, that is sort of gone to the nationals. And you know, I know that there's a lot of retailers getting prepared to go to the variety of different shows. Dad's getting ready to head out to Las Vegas in the next several weeks and do the buying for our family business. So,
what's your perspective on retail right now?
I think, you know, after working over the holidays, that you've summarized it quite well. I worked during Thanksgiving. We had a very, very good Thanksgiving time. And when I was up during the sort of right after Thanksgiving, representing Sault Ste. Marie and Rogers City and Petoskey and Charlevoix, talking to retailers, talking to people on the streets and the downtowns of those communities, that it was a good Thanksgiving. And it seemed like someplace first part of December, it tapered off. And you know, I had originally thought that through because this was the longest span between Thanksgiving and Christmas, or one of the on a calendar year, and that, you know, the buying would sort of level itself out once we got to the end. But there didn't seem to be sort of that excitement or the rush that normally starts occurring the week before Christmas. And when you have sort of the you know, there's a group of people, great customers that always come in at the last minute, and that's how they thrive. Yeah. And you know, expecting to have the gifts wrapped and ready to go, and we're very honored to help out with that. But that did not seem to be what was occurring in Petoskey or Sheboygan or Charlevoix.
Or throughout the state.
Yeah.
Which was really curious, because with Christmas falling on a Tuesday, normally that weekend before is just extremely hectic and busy, but it did not materialize this year.
Yeah, I agree. And then I think the other things that are going on is that I think people were very pleased about the money that was spent in Travel Michigan this summer. And in rural Michigan, that is a very important part of the retail mix, is the out-of-state visitor. And when I was up talking with the folks from Sault Ste. Marie and the Visitors and Convention Bureau, in 2005, only about 20 to 25% of the entire visitors from out of state. And this year, that number was 50%. And they were very pleased about that because, you know, unfortunately, Michigan is in a one-state recession. Right. And we're one area that is in very, very tough economic situation. And so people coming in from Wisconsin or Indiana or Ohio were really spending dollars, and they were very prosperous. Now, the thing that will be interesting from a tourism perspective is then if the governor from our state of the state last night talked, or on Tuesday night talked about what do we need to be doing to increase tourism.